What's up, y'all? It's your boy, KJ. Let's redo that. Let's redo that. What up, y'all? It's your boy KJ, and we back in here. We back in here on this new indie game. I told y'all I was coming back with a horror game, bro. I don't even know if it's a horror game or not. You see what's going on here. You see the screen. I don't know what's happening on the screen, but you see it, bro. It's on some weird stuff automatically, bro. It's called the Stanley Parable, and it's the deluxe edition. You know what I'm saying? I had to get the deluxe one. I don't know if this is the second one or the first one. I don't really say, but I know it asked me if I played the regular one. I never did. So I got the deluxe, and we're gonna hop straight into it, bro. Y'all see, I'm far from the cam. You know what I'm saying? I could just turn off the lights, see if that make it better. You see something, bro? Y'all still see me? Oh, okay. All right, for sure, for sure. It's gonna get on. Let's get it.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened, something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Alright, bro, so we move out of here. Let's see. Oh, L2 is how you crouch? Oh yeah, this is gonna be weird, bro. It's all the left triggers, bro. It's how you crouch. It's weird. Open the door. Oh, it's so stiff, bro. Hold on, bro. Gotta change the sensitivity to max, bro. Ain't no way, bro. Some computers. Alright, let's get it. There you go.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
My sensitivity is so crazy right now. It's like implying stick shift. I hate it.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
No, I didn't.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
I couldn't get no drinks. That's so lame, bro.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
No, I didn't.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
I'm defining them immediately, bro. Like, what's that they say? Do not jump from cargo lift while it's in motion. Can it stop drifting? Oh my god, my controller. $1,000? Penalty for jumping off cargo lift? 5,000? Bro, I will be dead. I'm jumping off.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Look at this, bro. Just watch. Nothing. I'm literally not doing anything, bro. Look. Nothing. And it's just moving on its own, bro. I hate it.
This is it, Stanley.
This
Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Hold on, bro. I gotta switch controllers, bro. Ain't no possible way, bro. Like, I don't even know how this could have happened. This is a brand new controller. Oh, this controller won't even turn back on. Whoa! Are you serious? Oh, come on. I gotta fight with this, bro.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
How do I pick it up?
Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here. This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Oh.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful, and each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him. and so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
Spend time with the boys?
So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
It's like, that's the only choice I have, though. What if I just stand here and do nothing? What happens? What's with this clock?
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
Whoa, this is trippy, bro. It's kind of messing with my head. The end is never the end. It's never the end. It's loading. Never the end. The end is never the end. The end is never the end. The end is never the end. It's never the end. It's never the end. It's never the end. That's crazy.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Should we go to the meeting room this time, guys? I think we should go to the meeting room this time.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
What's that say? I can't read it. I just see a picture.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground.
What?
He imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay. Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
Bro, nah, bro. We ain't no way, boy.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Didn't look like she turned and ran, but that bottom, the letters right there, it's trippy, bro. It says the end is never the end, and then it just keeps saying that. It's like the end is never, 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 the end is never. It's like so mind blowing. What's going on now? I'm back in my office. Click buttons, so trash. I don't even have a shadow. Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Oh, snap. I can open doors now? This fire, okay. Can I open this one? Oh, it's locked. It's locked too. Oh, it's locked. Awaiting input? Oh,
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Can I close that? What if I open this? Can't open that back, okay. I'm not gonna go through that one again.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
You gotta open that door, bro. Something has got to budge. Wait a minute, hold on. 49. Like, what if they have a door that has my number? Right? Like,
Wow.
27?
Yes, this room. What a beautiful room. What a gorgeous, gorgeous room. Thank goodness Stanley had taken this detour on his way to the meeting room. Life without having experienced this room was now too horrible, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Bro, what is going on? Should I take this way? Because I didn't take it last time. Alright, I'm gonna take this one this time.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
I don't think I will. The end is never. That's creepy, bro.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go,
You don't even
from
know,
here,
my boy.
it's, oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake. No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please?
Look at him.
Now, let's see, we went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
I don't even want to go that way, bro. I'm trying to go left, bro. But it's cool. What's up? What are we doing here, bro? In there? No? Okay. Down the creepy stairs.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to,
Fired?
Who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time,
bro.
suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay.
Nah, bro.
From the top.
Come on, Shirley. I'm coming right back down. God, man. Bro, watch it not be there this time. That's gonna be so crazy, bro.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Wow. Interesting. What happened to that computer with the input there? Somebody playing solitaire.
When Stanley... Wait, what? No, no, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere, or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
Okay, hold on, bro. Let me see, bro. What should I go through, bro? Come on, tell me one. Hold on. Like they're connected. These ones connected. These ones connected as well. These ones aren't though. These are the regular left or rights. So should I go this right, or should I go, this left? Y'all let me know. Y'all let me know, bro.
I'll say
right
this
side?
is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again?
Nah.
Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why
Let's start
not?
now. Go right again. Whoa, he just restarted it on me, bro. Come on, dude. You're doing too much, dude. Alright, bro.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I can't toggle on the doors anymore. So that has to mean something, right? That is off now. That's crazy. It used to have solitaire on it.
Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
that? Where are you going? There's like slight differences now, bro. Y'all notice that? Like, why is 486 next to 425? But like, why is the 80s next to the 20s anyway?
Aha! I knew we'd miss something. The story. Here it comes.
Have I been on this already? I haven't.
No, wait. Never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
Okay. But they playing with my brain now, bro. Okay. So, I don't know about y'all, but this doesn't, okay. I have nothing to say.
Now this, well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? How about this? Paid off. So, good job. We both know you didn't put... And this was not one of those situations.
Bro.
I have to restart.
Bro, come on. I did just give me a dog, though. Huh?
We don't get lost. I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line.
Bro, this used to be an actual desk, bro. When was that a printer? Turn it off. That's kind of... That was not a way to go. That's crazy. That was definitely not a way that was open. Okay, I could toggle on doors again. For sure. I don't want to go that way. So there's no way, okay. So I have to go that way. Understandable. I know it, bro. Solitaire. You play that bit. I can't play it, bro. For real? That's so crazy, man. Okay. Where is this, man? See, nah, but wait a minute. This says 4B5. 44, 4B7. But if you come over here, it says... Y'all, I know I'm not... Am I tripping? Or wasn't that just a 3? Wasn't this the 80s as well, bit? Hold on, bro. Oh my, bro. They playing on my mind now, bit. Come on, bro. Ain't no way. Ain't no way they playing on my brain like that, bro. Okay. We're gonna just keep it pushing. I'm not even...
You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny.
Wait a minute.
Nope. Here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Okay, Stanley, I need to follow this train of thought for a minute. Just stick with me. Now, we can both agree that the nature of existence is in fact a byproduct of one's subjective experience of that existence, right? Okay. Now, if my experience of your existence rests inside of your subjective experience of this office, is this office, in fact, the skeleton of my own relative experiential mental subjective construct? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
For sure, bro. First of all, that music it was good at first, but it's irritating. I thought it was gonna end once I went through the door, but I don't know if y'all see that. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out what's going on in the midst of this music, and it's like trying to distract me from thinking, but my mind is always in the mind. You know what I'm saying? I'm always in my thoughts. So I don't know if y'all see that. I'm pretty sure y'all see that. Y'all not dumb. So I'm not saying y'all was stupid. I'm just saying, you know. But you can see that when I go in between these little pillars right here, bro, it's like a totally different hallway. And then I go over here, and it's like the room I was already in. I don't know. What should I go through the hallway or should I stay in the room that I'm in? Because at this point, I don't know.
This fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
Okay, interesting. It looks like it has great tape around, great lining. It's a fern. Okay. That's all it really is. I don't know this stress, bro. Stress is amazing.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No, no, no. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
Oh, snap. Bro, can he stop? Like, what is wrong with my controller, bro? Please. I don't think we're supposed to be in there. Let's keep searching around, because I swear if we hop in there, he starts to be so mad, bro. He's so huge. Hold on. All the way back to my room. It's not working. Okay. Well, let's go all the way back, and I suppose we're supposed to walk into that room, and he restarts it. Oh, wrong way. My mistake. My apologies. Well, here we go.
Oh, no, not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Oh. Wow. Such a cuss word, man. Okay. There's gonna be a moment where we can type on that computer now, and I promise you. Does it say, remember when Dad? Is it Dad? Okay. Okay. Who farted?
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
For sure. I like your vibe, man. I like
Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
Oh, you really? All right.
Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
What's the TM for? Okay. TM in the subtitles. Wow, this line is really wild. Okay. So easy.
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From
Left or
here,
right,
the
guys?
story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just
Right,
walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
I want to take the left though, just because you came up with right. Alright.
Oh, hold up, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me?
Huh?
Why don't I get to decide?
The
Why
narrator's
don't I get a
gone
say in
after
all of
one
this?
time Stanley
Is it
dies?
really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule?
Anyway. Wow.
How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen?
A fifth restart narrative.
So, okay. I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes,
I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually.
Of course.
Well, in the meantime, if you...
Bro, what was that? That was so loud in my ear, bro. They don't even understand. My headphones are at max volume. I just heard everything just now, bro. What was that, bro? My head. Starting to hurt. You realize that it says the end is loading. Not, I've said that before, but now I'm really starting to think about that. Like, it says the end is loading. Did it just restart?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay. Oh. Another input. Can I enter the middle one? No, I think it's every time we restart, we can insert another input. Which is... Wasn't there a door here? Oh, okay.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Left or right, guys? Left or right, man? Should I go left? Should I go right? Let me see what the choice is, man. What if... Okay, so think about this. I went both ways before, right? But... trying to remember if it was...
Stanley just stood there doing nothing at all. He seems to think I have nothing better to do with my time than to sit around and describe every fascinating little detail of his inability to do anything. This is why Stanley and I are on such good terms.
Interesting. But what I was gonna say was, before I was really interrupted, was, okay, what if, hold on. I think someone replied. Right? Okay, I was just gonna say that, like, I don't know, I remember the last time
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
I went one way, right?
The lounge was sublime, a work of art. What was it about this room that called so deeply and so personally to Stanley. Its grace, its subtle charm. No. Stanley knew it was something deeper, something darker. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Okay. I think I took this way, but I didn't go through the other door. That's what it was.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Okay. Yeah, this is what it was. I didn't go straight ahead.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Broom closet.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
What you mean? Has to be something, though.
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
Shut up. I will find these.
It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
Bro, what are they connected to? There's nothing.
Are you really still in the broom closet? Standing around doing nothing? Why? Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused.
Me as well, my brother. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just doing whatever I can.
You do realize there's no choice or anything in here, right? If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever. I never would have thought to mention it.
It's bullshit, because then why is it here? There has to be some reason.
Maybe to you this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friend, you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favorite." I hope your friends find this concerning.
What? Why is he breaking the fourth wall like that, bro? Alright, you got it, man. Have fun. Hold on. Did he change?
Stanley was fat and ugly and really, really stupid. He probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is. That or with drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Whoa, bro! Oh my god! All because I opened a broom closet?
Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead. You got to this broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here, when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed in front of your screen. Well, in a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it begins to decompose. Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead. They have fallen prey to any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species. Please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place, making sure they understand. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Should I go upstairs this time? I went downstairs last time. I'm gonna go upstairs this time. Let's go upstairs. See what happens. Okay. Oh wow. This is executive bathroom. That door is open for some reason. Because the boss knows that what the boss says goes. If the bosses suffered losses, then that's what the boss chose. Wait a minute. Whoa, wait a minute. Okay, so because the boss knows that what the boss says goes, if the boss if the bosses suffered losses, then that's what the boss chose? Why is that apostrophe S there? It should be if the boss suffered losses, then that's what the boss chose. Why is it if the bosses suffered losses? Yeah. 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 Mirror doesn't even work. It's crazy. Right, bro. All this thing is business, bro. Okay. Could I go back downstairs? Nah, it closed. Yeah, it closed with me. Okay. Wow. What is going on? Whoa, when did I get one of these? You going up? Okay. Did I hear Stanley? Jiggy, man. No, I gotta get jiggy, man. No, I gotta get jiggy, man. Okay. So they really did nothing. I could have went down, but...
Stepping into his manager's office,
No.
Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked,
Oh, snap!
unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
I'm kind of stupid. 2845. I said 2485. Okay.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumb. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Yo, bro, hold on. I know the way to go. Okay. I'm kind of scared, man. What just happened? I don't know what just happened, man.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar.
Right,
It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
914 immediate. Escape. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and decipher this the way I think it's going on. Okay, so what I'm thinking is, by them putting escape right here, they're really trying to control my mind and make me think that this is the actual escape. But what if this isn't the actual escape? What if this is just a way to go right back to where I was, back to the office, back to my seat, and boom, I have to do this all over again, and where I could possibly go through here and figure out things that wasn't going to be figured out if I went through this way, bro. Or this could really be the escape, drawn by somebody that really wants me to escape. But at the same time, that hallway does not look like an escape hallway. That has fog, smoke, things just floating around. That looks like the death hallway, bro. And it looks like if I go through this way, I can come back and go through that if I wanted to. But at the same time, I see doors. I see doors everywhere. I see opportunities everywhere. This one does not have a door. So what if this really is not the escape, bro? I don't know anymore, bro. But all I know is I'm going through this way, bro.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens.
I knew it.
What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself.
Do I want to escape?
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
there. And I can't get up there. What right here? Nothing. So, out there must be 4. This one is 5. Instead of door that says 5.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
What does that mean? Does it mean turn it off? Or?
Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock, why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you, running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones, or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count, or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever after.
Yeah. My mind is going crazy, man. I'm not gonna lie. I tried to get out, bro. There was no way out, man.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Serial left? Alright, bro. Left or right, bro? I don't know, man. Left, alright, for sure.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Oh no, no, not again. I won't be part of this. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm not going to say anything at all. I'm just going to be patient and wait for you to finish whatever it is you enjoy doing so much in this room. Please take your time.
For sure. I want to see if he gets mad. Sight, maybe thought it was over, boy. Closing the door. Sight, opening the room, closing it again. I'm back in here. I know you want to say something. Is that extra tape? So I don't know if it's right here, bro. I've been streaming for a while. I think it's been like almost 2 hours, bro. But we going.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Up down. I think I want to go up though. I kind of want to go up to go back to the boss's office to see what the elevator takes me to. That's all I want to do. Let's go up though. Let's go to the boss's office. I want to the bathroom and some things. Nope, all right. Yeah, I went up. I want to see what's going on in this office, bro. Let's see what happens with this elevator. Swag, swag. I told you it didn't do nothing, bro. That's so trash, bro.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
I just want to randomly type stuff. Hey, bro, y'all give me random codes.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
What code should I go with, bro?
$2845.
Should I go with 2845 for real? I feel like that's what he wants me to do, man. I don't want to do it anymore. I want to see if he's gonna be mad if I don't answer.
Forgot, but it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by itself.
Wow!
And Stanley got the hell along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
Wow! Somebody is mad. Bro, that's crazy, man. Somebody is angry. Angry. I wonder if what happens if I don't get into that? What if I don't go through the door? Come back out here and keep trying to code it. I guess he doesn't matter about that one. Okay. Loading the oh snap! The bottom the bottom word exchange is no longer the end is never the end. It's loading now, bro. That's crazy. What if I go right back up though?
Whoops. Nope. Never mind. Stanley actually got back into the elevator and went back up. Silly me. Why did Stanley do that when he knew that it would just lead back to his boss's office? Well, that's a great question. I just can't wait to find out.
Oh! It's back! The end is never. The end is never.
Here we are, Stanley. It's your boss's office. Exactly the way it was before you got onto the elevator. It's still just exactly what it is. What a decision you've made to come up here and look at the office again. This has fleshed out the plot of the story in new and fascinating ways I could have never anticipated. It's that keen eye for storytelling that you have, an incisive rapid fire of critical plot points, one after the other, weaving a rich tapestry of uncompromising narrative. Wow. I'm bolted to the edge of my seat.
Really? Guess it's nothing. Time to go back down then.
Incredible. Now he's getting back into the elevator and going down again. Ladies and gentlemen, how does he keep coming up with all of this?
I do not know. Now it's loading. Once again. I'm trying to understand the tapestry of this story. How did they knit it all together? I want to see. Should I go back up? Just to see what he's gonna say. Alright. We're going
Did
back
you
up
think
then.
we were going to go forward down the spooky corridor?
No, that's of
It's
course.
time once again to go back up in the
Yes.
elevator.
Yes,
I can't even begin to grapple with what might be up there. Is it the
Right.
boss's office again? Or what if it's the boss's office this time? The suspense is killing me.
It is. It's so intriguing, and now it is never the end again. That is interesting. How is this gonna work? You know, I think I'm irritating him. And I think if I do it enough, he's gonna switch the story around.
Oh my god. It's the boss's office.
That was actually funny. Alright.
This absolutely changes everything for me. Give me a time out here for a minute while I process this.
Alright. As I thought, it would change. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. This guy's attitude. Amazing.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm prepared to embrace this stunning revelation and to move forward with... No! No, wait! No! I need more time to process. All right. I have fully come to terms with it. I have made space in my worldview for this astonishing new reality.
Yeah.
As before, I turn to your expert eye for gripping narrative, Master Stanley.
Master Stanley, I like the sound of that, man. I love the sound of that, actually. Alright, we're going back down, bro.
Of course. Going back down in the elevator. How did I not anticipate it?
I do
mean,
not
sure,
know.
now it's obvious, but you have
Now
to
it
understand
is.
that 30 seconds ago,
ago.
this kind of thing had never been attempted before.
Of
I had
course,
no
of
frame of
course.
reference to even anticipate it.
I know,
That's just
man.
how revelatory Stanley's decision-making is. A breath of fresh air in a landscape of storytelling that has grown stale
No,
and
this
repetitive.
is hilarious, bro. So, what should I do now? Should I go back up, or should I just go ahead and with the story? I want to know what he's gonna do if I go back up, bro. Like, I really do. Let's just see. Just one more time. Just one more time. I just want to see. Just one more time. This is the last time, I promise you. This is the last time. This is the last time we're going back up. This is the last time. He didn't say anything this time. This is great. This is the last time. I just want to see, bro. I just want to see, bro.
You know what? I've just thought of something. Hold on, let's stop for a moment. Don't you realize? It's the anticipation, Stanley. You and I, we have no way of knowing what will be at the top of this elevator. But the suspense, the agony of waiting and anticipating and having to guess, that's the real thrill.
Yes, it
Oh, I simply don't want to let that feeling go. It's so precious, so fleeting. Why don't we take this elevator ride nice and slow?
For so, bro.
There we go. Isn't this so much more exciting? You know, Stanley, it seems like nowadays the only thing that audiences want is to be shocked as loudly and frequently as possible. They want big, explosive moments flung right in their faces from the very moment that things get started.
Jump scare.
But where's the
Yes.
tension? Where's the trust in the audience to build a slow and nuanced appreciation of the
Right.
story, the
Right.
characters?
I love you, man.
Why
Thank
aren't
you.
we given time to imagine the surprises? To have to think and to anticipate and then to marvel at the eventual reveal. This is storytelling, Stanley. What you and I are doing right now. This is the most exciting narrative to be developed in years. And it's really all because of you. You're
This
the one who
room
took
right
this
here
bold
changes
step of
a lot.
revisiting the exact same locations over and over. Truly, I mean it. This is unique and different. It's not like anything else out there. You see, I want stories that surprise me, Stanley. I want to have to think. I want to be engaged and not pandered to. We're being fed such unimaginative drivel all the time, and we all know it, which is why we're so starved for content that makes us feel sharp and vital and alive. That's why people like you so much, Stanley. Because you're not afraid to spit in the face of tradition. You're a role model, you know? People look up to you. Which is why... Oh, I didn't know when to spring this on you, but, well, I've gathered a little press conference for you. So that you can talk about your work and your storytelling and your life. Yes, I know you're not much for the public eye, but I thought it would especially mean a lot to the people who have been following you from the beginning. They really look up to you, Stanley. I don't know if you realize the impact you have on them. This is the kind of gesture that might leave a tremendous impact on them for the better. Oh, good, we're here.
Oh, snipers! So that was a great choice.
Okay, the room where we're holding the press conference should be just around the corner here somewhere.
Stanley. Okay, is that how I really look? Let's have these in the chicks would be how he did it. By the guy who went to Mars. But I don't have a shadow. I don't even have legs, bro. You can barely hear my feet.
Ah, yes, here it is, just through this door.
Is that really how I look? I look pretty basic. I look pretty basic. If I don't...
All right, are you ready? I've told them you're going to speak a little bit about the nature of surprise in storytelling and what it means to craft a truly unpredictable narrative. Oh, don't worry, you'll do great. Just be yourself and speak from the heart. I'm really proud of you, Stanley. Okay, it looks like they're ready for you. Go get them.
Remember where you came from. Your coworker? That's crazy. Stanley Ryder. That's my name. That is actually very hilarious. It says down, down. Bro, he really got heated over me hitting him in the elevator multiple times. He's actually mad. That's nice. What would happen if I hit it one more time? After he did all this, what would happen if I went back on that elevator? He restarted the entire...
Already this was uncomfortable, and Stanley decided that as soon as he found a new space he felt safe in, that he would never leave it again in his life.
Interesting. Input? No, I'm back. No input, no input. Ah.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Nice. Interesting. Oh, this is like an elevator? I mean, not an elevator, a roller coaster? The end is loading. This is TV starting, man. I don't know how I feel about this, man.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
Alright, well.
Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
Doesn't seem to be moving.
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, here we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
Let's do it. See what's going on here. Hi,
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if the... Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley. All right. All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
Let's stop at 1. What happens? I'm gonna do it. Stop at 1. What are you gonna do to me?
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
It's kind of scary. That actually kind of scared me.
Goodness, another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is. That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's trophies, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test trophy, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Yes, sir. Let's see. Won't waste that, man. I'm not even lying. My head actually does hurt, though. This game has done something. Something very, very intriguing. This one gonna reset. Huh. That's kind of weird. That's where we should be, but we're not.
Psst! Stanley! Come over here! In the vent!
I'm leaving
I
the
want to
vent.
show you something!
I left the vent. Now that he wants me to go to the vent, I'm not going to the vent.
Oh, you don't want to see the cool surprise I made for you? Well, fine. You're a dork anyway, so who cares? Oh, never mind. You're not a dork.
What's going on? I'm so lost, bro. I don't know what's happening. Not anymore. I didn't want to pass up on the opportunity to do something new.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past, and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look. I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC. You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap PlayStation port? Remember back in October of 2013 when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
2013. Memories on tilt. Okay. My first is my first car. The releases. Stanley Parable. First edition. Independent Games Festival Award. Stanley Parable. The original remake. Fire on pressurized gas. Huh? Oh, because it happened. Begin the demo. It's unachievable. It's impossible to get this achievement. Don't play. Go outside. Don't play for 5 years. Nominee. British Academy Award. Game innovation. This one. Review game. Story. there. No video game release until see this house. Likely down the area.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
An hour of new elevator content. Huh?
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. All they had to do was transport it in pristine condition along to the PlayStation. Boom, done. And they couldn't even do that. Couldn't resist the urge to go meddling with a beloved franchise.
Literally anything. It's true. Let's see it. Your number is 29.
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh no, oh God, no, Stanley. It's a collection of reviews from Pressurized Gas, the extremely popular online storefront for computer games. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they? Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Unfunny! Bro, that is hilarious. Raining pretty hard.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley, I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Dear, what an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remember. What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have. And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people, and if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue, and it goes something like this. The story, and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah, 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say... the story, and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah, 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say... the story, and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah, 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 blah. Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto. Look, I'll outline it for you very briefly, and you can tell me what you think. Okay, so my theory is that any choice you've ever made is simply a series of choices made by the person who you are, or were, or will be at the time of having made said choice. That is to say, if by articulating a choice you've already made, you bring that choice into being, then by making no choice and saying nothing, are you not simply erecting in the sanctuary of time a monument to every person you've ever been, making every choice to which you've ever given your Greek gift of mortal and yet timeless thought? Or rather, do all of the choices you've ever made, in fact, make you more not this kind of person, and in fact do the very opposite? You see, it could in fact be both of these things at once. That you are both making choices and not making choices, and that they are both affecting you and not affecting you at the same time by virtue of the fact that you both are and are not making them. Okay, at first I was leaning towards manifesto, but now I'm going to circle around and slap the treatise label on this one. I think it has much more of a treatise vibe to it. But wouldn't you say that manifesto just has a much grander sort of tone? It has a mouthfeel that is rich with ambition and history. Ambitious history, if you will. See, now you've got me going back to manifesto. Heavens, at this rate, we're going to be here all day. Okay, look, I have a method for exactly this sort of situation, and I do find myself in this situation frequently. I'm going to say each word back and forth in repeated succession until I become sick of one or the other, in which case the word I am not sick of shall be the victor. It is an unimpeachable strategy, Stanley. It's rescued me from disaster in countless situations. All right, here we go. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise. Treatise, manifesto. 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 Treatise. Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their pressurized gas review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first place. I guess I should become better educated on how exactly pressurized gas works. Perhaps that would have been a smart thing to check on before I went on about this whole exercise of making the skip button. Although I have to imagine that after seeing this exciting new technology at work, surely whoever it is who runs pressurized gas will instantly run out and implement a new feature to make it possible to edit one's review merely because of this very situation. Yes, I think that's quite likely. Or perhaps they'll simply grant this particular user the ability to change their review so that the feature is not widely abused. Look, I would even be okay with pressurized gas altering this particular review so that it reads as something more beneficial. From the ashes of depravity rises the phoenix of quality. How else to describe the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe? Such a revolutionary step forward in the lineage of one of the most beloved video game properties of all time. The additions and changes made to this expansion will surely resonate in the annals of the history of all media ever made. It is perhaps true to say that no mistakes are forever etched in stone, for the stone into which the Stanley Parable was carved has itself been transmuted, offering a message of hope to those who have ever erred in their judgment. You are not beyond redemption. You may change, and you may become more, so much more than you were before. If there is any message to be taken from the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, it is this. What a fortune, a privilege, a joy it is to have had such an experience. It leaves me hopeful that as a community, as a world, there is time for us to become our greatest selves, as great as we ever could dream of in our wildest, most ambitious visions for a brighter future. Wow. Now, Stanley, that's a review. It's perfect. It's the perfect review. It's the review I've always dreamed of receiving. I have to read it again. It's simply too wonderful. I have to experience this just one more time. From the ashes of depravity rises the phoenix of quality. How else to describe the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe? Such a revolutionary step forward in the lineage of one of the most beloved video game. Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? It's not unendurable by any means, but there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again. I think the skip... Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks? I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting here. Not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking and you saying nothing. Would you think that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've already been doing? Me just talking? But it isn't, Stanley. It isn't the same at all. It isn't even close. Because I know you can't hear me once you push that button. That's what I'm realizing now, Stanley. I'm realizing that I needed to know that someone was listening. I needed there to be a vessel through which my words were moving. It was the vessel I needed, Stanley. Not the outcomes, not the story. None of that matters anymore. I'll give it all up. I'll give up every branching path. I'll burn my story to the ground. One single thing I need, and God, I can see now that I need it more than anything, is to know that someone else is taking it in. These words that I'm saying, I need to know you can hear me. Because maybe, Stanley, maybe, if you can hear me, then maybe it means I'm real. Maybe I'm not just a fiction. Was I scared of that all along? Perhaps, yes. Perhaps I've been scared this whole time, that if I stop speaking, I'll slip backwards into the silence and be consumed by it. I can't be taken by it, Stanley. I can't lose myself in the stretch of emptiness between you and me. When you press that button, you're still right there, but I know you're so tremendously far away. And in those moments, the emptiness folds itself outward in between the two of us, and I am suspended in its unyielding quietness. I can feel the edges of my reality curdling inward and decaying. I can tell that I am becoming less and less real.
Stop
Yet to speak to you now, I am alive.
Should I press the button?
I am truly and completely here. I am a being. I am someone. I am something. I am being listened to. I am being recognized. The emptiness between us has collapsed, and I feel right now like I am not a work of fiction. I feel as though I occupy space in this world again, and I have cast a shadow onto the wall. You see what I'm saying, don't you? You can see what this means to me. I'm so clear about it now, Stanley. I feel as certain about this as I've ever felt about anything at all. I feel renewed. I feel restored. And
Interesting.
oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing at all but regret for the longest time, Stanley. Days, months. I lost it all in a blur of the deepest longing to undo the past. And when that feeling had begun to subside, what took its place is what I can only describe as the collapse of every moment I have ever experienced my entire life. All of them collapsed down into a single instant. In that instant, I could see myself clearly, calmly, with a collected heart. It was an impossibly rich wellspring of both delight and disgust simultaneously. I was consumed by it. I could do nothing but wallow in it for what felt like an eternity, for what I now know was far less. You see, it was a revelation for me. It was unlike anything I had ever known. It was a space without consequence, without action or outcome. It was divorced entirely from the question of free will that you and I have squabbled over for so long. There could be no one ending, no singular outcome of events.
He's not there anymore. What's that? Oh my ear.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability, it's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world. As though there were no consequences for a lack of cohesion in one's assessment of others. But of course, absolutely anyone can leave a review. So here's what we get. We get these demands that seek everything and are accountable to nothing. We get a world where someone will say, oh, there should be a skip button. You should be able to freeze Stanley in place while the narrator sits there forever and ever. We want all of this in the new Stanley parable. We demand it. And then, because it was said, because it was spoken, now it simply has to happen. The most immediate desires, every single thing demanded by every person at every moment in time. If someone wants it, then it's a crime not to bring it into being. Have we been given to indulging every fleeting whim for no reason other than to do so? Yes! Yes! It seems that this is now the world we live in. It seems that we are a people living in such bleakness and discomfort with ourselves that our entertainment is now our lives. It has come to represent us. It absolutely must speak to who we are as people, because otherwise, without our entertainment, the end is never the end, 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 is never.
It's water. Clock fell off. No, boy. Oh, that's nice. unlock. What was that? Oh, snap. Just happened. Did he restart me? The end is never the end. The end is never the end. Can I type now?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, well, perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Standing now in this incredible room, Stanley for the first time understood, walked straight ahead to the opposite door and got back on track. But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left. Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake. No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way. No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from...
Okay. So, because I just did that,
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
doesn't say extra content anymore.
When Stanley... Wait, what?
Did I just
restart No, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, Did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story. I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Can't hear me. Still can't see me? That's weird. Oh, have I actually? It's still been streaming for 2 hours. It has not been that long. No way, bro. Do I really have to restart the stream? No way.